Hey everyone, welcome to Founders 365 with me, Steven Haggerty, and today I'm joined by the founder of Norada Real Estate Investments, Mr. Marco Santarelli. How are you doing today, Marco?
I'm awesome, Steven. How are you today?
I am very good indeed. It's the week is going faster than I can imagine, but hey, that's the life right now, right?
Exactly. It's okay. I mean, when you love what you do and you're busy doing it, work doesn't seem like work. It feels like a hobby. You're excited to get up in the morning and you bounce out of bed and you look forward to what you love to do. So it's great.
Exactly. It's a weird world we live in, but we're lucky enough to still be able to do what we do, right?
Totally. I agree 100%.
Good man. So, Marco, let's jump straight into this. Narada Real Estate Investments. What is it? What is it you guys do? And how did you come to found this business?
So what Norada Real Estate Investments is a company I founded 16 years ago to help people, freely help people invest in real estate to create wealth and passive income.
Hmm.
Most people, and I say literally 99% of people, want passive income to create financial freedom for themselves, and not so much for the financial freedom. They want time freedom. They want to live life on their terms and do what they want when they want. And most people know that real estate is one of the most powerful ways to not only hold wealth but create wealth. So 16 years ago, I was investing very heavily in real estate. In fact, in a 9-month period, I purchased 84 doors, 84 units.
Wow.
And investors were coming to me saying, "Hey, Marco, can you mentor me or coach me?" And I said, "Well, no, I don't have the time for it, but I see a lot of real estate, a lot of deal flow, and I'm underwriting all these deals and I don't buy them all. So why don't I assign them to you?" And that's how the business was born. And it has evolved over the years, but the mission has pretty much stayed the same. And that is to help people create financial freedom using real estate so they can create wealth and passive income. As far as how we provide that, we provide tons and tons of content, like a lot of knowledge. Free education is what I call it.
Hmm.
Secondly, we provide all the resources, and we don't charge for any of this, by the way. And then last but not least, I wanted to be the company at the end of that food chain, if you will, because after you're done educating yourself, having the right mindset, and making the decision to invest in real estate, we want to be the company there to hold your hand and guide you through picking the market, picking the neighborhoods, picking the properties, actually having that inventory, and providing you the financing and everything you could possibly need, including the management and the tenants, to be there on a silver platter for you. And so that's what I built the business to be, is basically a done with you
Hmm.
service at no cost to help you succeed, because I did it. I made my fair share of mistakes. I don't want you to make those same mistakes. And so that's how we shape the company.
That is sounds very exciting. I love how you're literally you're basically hand holding from day one,
Yep.
amateur investor, until they get to that level where they secure whatever it is for them, whether that's financial freedom, like you said, time freedom, all that kind of stuff. You used a lot of buzzwords there, Marco. Financial freedom, time freedom, passive income. All of these buzzwords seem to be all over the place at the moment, right? And not even at the moment. I think it's all over the place probably for the last 10 years. Uh, when you when you speak about passive income and real estate investment, what is it that makes your system and the way you do it work? Because I know there's a lot of other people out there that can talk the talk but can't walk the walk. You obviously can walk the walk because of your experience and all that kind of things. But when people come to you, why is it that they stick with you? Why is it that you've got the magic sauce to actually allow these people to have that mindset change and stick with it? Because often, I don't know about you, but I find that people who crave that financial freedom or that passive income terminology often are not prepared for that work that actually goes into creating the passive income.
Well, let's unpack that. You've probably asked about 5 questions in that
I
one
did. I
mouthful.
did.
So we could literally spend a half hour just on that question alone. But let's kind of just dive in a little bit.
Mm,
First of all, you don't really need to convince a lot of people that real estate done right is a very powerful way to build and preserve or hold wealth.
yeah.
That's why you see wealthy people all over buying and holding real estate, because they know it's an inflation hedge and it's a powerful asset class to actually preserve and grow your wealth. So
Hmm.
we don't need to convince people that contact us, whether by phone or email, that that's the case. they already know real estate's good. Now the question is, how do I invest, and how do I invest successfully, right? So they want someone to guide them, coach them, and mentor them. So they basically are looking for someone to either help them and or a system that works that they can duplicate or replicate. Now, there's no rocket science to this. It's just some knowledge and some experience. You can accelerate your success by copying or modeling or following other people's existing formula. And that's all we have is we have, a methodology, a system that works, and we have all the resources, which include the people, like the companies that we work with, from builders to property managers to lenders, that make it all happen. So you don't have to reinvent that wheel. Otherwise, you could just do this on your own. You can reinvent the wheel, as I like to call it, by putting your team together, assembling all those people. There's really 5 key people on your team. There's the acquisitions person or company, and that could be multiple people or companies, but those are the people who bring you the deals. Number 2 is the people who are going to provide you financing. Those are the lenders, mortgage brokers, and whatnot, to help you finance the deals that are brought to you, that you underwrite and say, yeah, that's a great deal, let's buy that.
Yeah.
Thirdly, probably one of the most important people on your team is your property manager. You live and die by your property manager, as I like to say. So it's important to have full service, professional, local property management. And then the last 2 guys are your tax advisor and your asset protection attorney. Now, you can do this here on your own. Now, I will step back and say this, just to kind of add more context to your question. There's 2 types of ways to invest, generally speaking, not just real estate. You could be an active investor or a passive investor.
Yeah.
And you talk about buzzwords. Well, people love passive income. I like knowing that every time I go to bed and I sleep for the next 8 hours, I'm actually getting paid, while I sleep. Why? Because all my rentals and all my investments every month deposit rent, net rents into my bank account. And that's real spendable cash. And so that's passive income. So knowing that you have enough of that, or you've accumulated or built enough of that, gives you that financial freedom, because now you are independent. You make more than you need to spend for your monthly living expenses. That's financial freedom. But back to the point of active and passive. A lot of people mistakenly think that real estate investing is about what you see on TV. I don't know about you there in the UK, but here, or do they still call it UK, or is it Great Britain, or what do you guys talk about? It is UK? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm never sure about that.
It can be either, whatever you want.
Okay. So here in the US, we've got multiple networks on TV that are broadcasting shows like Flip or Flop, Flip This House, tons of them.
I've got to say, though, the US versions of those shows are a lot more exciting. We get like Homes Under the Hammer, where people are buying a house at auction in the rain.
Oh, so yeah.
It's not as sexy as like flipping a house in a week.
Yeah, well, I've done that too, actually, but it's kind of funny. But, because there's so much of that kind of TV, a lot of people are falsely indoctrinated to believe that is real estate investing. You can argue
it makes it look so easy, right?
Yes, but I know a lot of those guys, and I have conversations with them. It's all made for TV. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's cut out. There's a lot of deals that they lose money on that they don't show you, but it's all in the editing to make it look exciting. That's why the camera angles are changing all the time. There's a lot of TV in there. It's all Hollywood, right? But the thing is that is a business. It's not so much investing as much as it is a business, and that is active, and that's an active approach to real estate investing. You're swinging the hammer, figuratively speaking. So you need to do these deals, take on a lot of risk, put up the capital, put in the energy, time, work, and build a team to do all that. It can be stressful, and there's risks, and you can make a lot of money and lose a lot of money. But here's the thing: when you're actively involved, this is true for the stock market as well. When you're an active trader, you're making chunks of cash, but your goal should be to create streams of cash. Because if you have a stream of cash, and the larger that stream is, the more financially independent and financially free you are or become. So the chunks of the secret there is to take the chunks of cash, which are taxed at a higher rate, by the way, take those chunks of cash and turn them as quickly as you can into streams of cash. If you master that formula, then you will become financially independent quickly.
Yeah. I'm really curious to know, why is it so important for you as a person to teach and educate and coach and help other people to do this? Because you could quite realistically not do this and you're still going to be okay, and you have your property portfolio, like many other property investors out there that aren't doing this. So why is it for you that you wake up every morning and you go, look, I want to help people become financially free, get into property investment and do it the right way? Because it's so great what you're doing.
That's a good question. I think everybody, whether you talk to, Grant Cardone or Mark Cuban or anybody, I mean, I'm not at their level, but when you talk to anybody who's achieved a certain level of success and gained a certain level of experience, when you reach a kind of a milestone or a pinnacle of a mountain, you realize that you could be lonely the further up you go, and you have something inside you that you can share back and give to humanity and help other people succeed, better other people's lives. And that's really where the true feeling of accomplishment and success and gratitude come in. So if you just keep it to yourself, I'm not saying that you're being selfish or greedy, but I think you're just lacking something in your life by not giving back, by not showing and sharing other people and helping other people become better off, because that really is the greatest feeling. Sure, I mean, it feels good to, get a check for $1,000, $10,000, $100,000 from, a deal or, income per year, whatever it is. But it's a better feeling to know that you've helped a bunch of families be better off, live a more comfortable life, and their kids, their future generations are also better off. So I've actually made it my mission, which has become the company's mission. My mission is to help 1 million people create wealth and passive income to achieve financial freedom through real estate.
Incredible. Is that 1 million people direct or, through your circles?
In any way I can reach them. That's why, we do the podcast. We put out tons and tons of content on the internet. I mean, we have, I remember, but six figures a month of people, new users coming to our website. I put out, we have a new YouTube channel coming out. We have a free book coming out, which is literally a free book, like, paper and PDF version. There's a new podcast in the works. It's not going to be launched yet. I mean, I'm just trying to reach as many people as I can. And I get emails from time to time from people saying, hey, you know what? You don't know who I am, and we've never done any business together, but I've been listening to your podcast for 6 months or a year, and you've changed me and my family's life. I mean, they literally say this in the email, and it's like they just want to reach out and say thank you.
That must feel so good for you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who they are. I didn't charge them a single dime. There was no transaction, but they're basically reaching out saying, thank you, you've changed my life. They would actually say, I've never thought I'd ever invest in real estate, but now I see the light.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
That when you wake up and you see those emails, it must make it all worth it, because you sound like you're doing 101 things in terms of putting out content, putting things out there, reaching this 1 million people that you're helping. How do you keep yourself motivated? How do you keep yourself going every single day so that you can be reaching these 1 million people, that you can continually get these emails back from complete strangers saying, hey, thanks, you changed my life?
I think the answer to that is twofold. One, you need a big, hairy, audacious goal. You need a goal that's much bigger than yourself, a goal that actually makes you feel uncomfortable. I told my wife a couple of weeks ago, I said, I didn't tell her, I asked her, I said, how do you know if your goal's big enough? And she kind of looked up and thought about it for a minute, and she answered it, but not with the right answer. And I said, it makes you sweat. Like, it makes you uncomfortable when you think about it. Because if it's not making you uncomfortable, it's not big enough. You're not thinking big enough. So you need those big goals to keep driving you. But it needs to be a goal that resonates. It has to align with your values and you as a person. It has to be something that you feel good about, which leads to the second point. The second point is that you need to enjoy what you do. Like, if you enjoy what you do, then work doesn't feel like work. Like you're looking forward to it. It's just like, if I don't know if what you enjoy doing, like if it's playing poker or whatever, but something that you could literally sit down and stay focused on and do for hours on end. And you could even forego having dinner. When you enjoy something that much and you turn that into your work or whatever it is you call quote unquote work, work is no longer work. You're playing. Like life is a game. You're just playing.
Yeah. I'm curious to know, do the people around you get it? Do the people around you get the game that you just described?
You mean my team, like my staff?
Yeah, not so much your staff, your friends, your family, because one of the things that I've spoken to so many founders on this show, and one of the common themes that comes up when we talk about that sort of mindset attitude that you just mentioned is that fact that when they speak to their friends, when they speak to their family, who may be doing that, I'm going to say the normal way of living life, you go to work, you get up, you go to a job, you come home, repeat. When they say about actually, I'm living my passion, I'm getting up every day, I'm sitting at my computer, I'm going out, playing poker, whatever that game is for them, their friends, family, or whoever kind of just go, I don't get it. Like, what do you do? How do you make money from that? So do you make it a conscious effort in terms of your environment outside of your staff to surround yourself with the people that get it?
Well, there's two types of people I hang out with. There's the people that you would just loosely call family, though that's your family, your relatives, and close friends. And then there's another group which I would refer to as my network. People that might be in the industry or not in the industry, but people that I like to associate because we feed off each other. I mean, we can have conversations and learn from each other and be engaged. Those people in your network, they tend to get what you do. They will ask questions and they will understand, and they can help you along or compliment you or criticize you. And you will have a deeper conversation with those people, at least I do, than the so-called friends and family. The reason is because people who are your friends and family, they kind of get what you do, but they don't tend to ask a lot of questions or get too deep into it.
Yeah.
Because it's not that they don't care. They probably don't care enough to really get too deep into it, knowing that you're family. Unless they're really on the same page as you and they're another entrepreneur or founder or someone, or hardcore investor that they want to have those conversations with you. They're typically just standing on the outside looking in, and they see, I drive an exotic Italian car, and like they know I have a certain level of success. They see it. I can't hide it from them, right? But they also don't acknowledge it. They don't engage and really ask, well, hey man, how did you do that? Like how are you making your money, or how are you growing your business? It's not that they don't care. It's just
they don't know
maybe
that they
they're
can get a side to the pie.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's maybe they're a little ashamed or feeling a little lesser than you, and they don't want to be embarrassed, so they don't want to get into that conversation. But hey, the people in my network, they want to have those conversations. They want to know what you're doing. They want to learn.
Hungry.
Yeah, they want to help and they want to learn. Your family it's like, oh, hey, it's Marco. I grew up with him. It's like he's the same little snot-nosed kid that I grew up with, right?
It is a really interesting concept when you explained it perfectly, because I've experienced that side of things as well. And for me, it did become a little bit frustrating, because I was like, I can help them, I can help them grow their businesses, or I can help them find something that they want to do. But the moment you approach it in that way, it became a completely different sort of relationship than when you're trying to work with your clients or your mentees or your coaches. So it is a weird aspect that I don't think we can ever solve. It's just one of those family friend things that happens, like so many other things. Marco, moving forward then with your business, you've got your audacious goals. What else is going on for you? Obviously, the worldwide pandemic that's happened and is going to have a huge knock-on effect. Do you see this as huge opportunity, or are you shifting things around a little bit to perhaps protect yourself, or protect the business, I should say?
My belief is that the last thing you want to do in an environment like this, especially when there are things going on out like beyond your control, is to go on the defensive. Sure, you want to protect yourself and have your emergency funds and just protect yourself to weather through market cycles, market fluctuations, economic cycles, all that stuff. but I personally believe that the last thing you want to do is go on the defensive. You really should be on the offensive, looking for more opportunities and taking advantage of them. In fact, I'm in the middle of a deal right now, which I can't disclose, but let's just say it's a publicly traded company filing bankruptcy that we as in a group of investors and I are coming in and picking up for, a song and a dance. It's just acquiring the intellectual property and then turning that company into an e-commerce play. So those opportunities will come out of situations and crises like this. But really, you should be, if you're an entrepreneur or founder or whatnot, double down. You should be
Yeah.
looking at what works and doubling down, because this is when a lot of people will kind of recess into their cave and go on the defensive and be a little scared or cautious, and they're basically pussyfooting around. Whereas you now need to be positioning yourself and your brand to be at the forefront, that you are the leader that is in the market making a difference, that's fighting through coronavirus or this or that. Because when you come out on the other end, you're going to come out 10 times stronger. So I don't look at as crisis situations as a bad thing. In fact, that's when most millionaires are made. Same thing with the Great Depression. Same thing with 2008. I mean, all these opportunities are the crisis is an opportunity. I mean, you got to find the opportunity and make it.
100%. Couldn't agree more. How do you make sure you're being heard, you're being seen throughout the noise that there is at the moment? Not just at the moment, just in general, especially in sort of the investment game. You mentioned Grant Cardone earlier. He's a big, noisy fella that is being heard, being controversial. How do you yourself, when you see that noise, how do you go, okay, what can we do differently to still reach our market, still be able to help, those targets that we're trying to help?
Well, it's part of it. Part of it is what I just said. You need to double down and focus on the things that are working and do more of it. Just keep doing it and do more of it. Grant Cardone really doesn't edit or filter things that he puts out. I know Grant.
I've never noticed that.
Yeah. Grant basically will say, "Look, I just keep producing content, and I don't have it overly edited. It's just I'll record a video and drop it." Right. And they just, put a bumper on it and put it out. But he's just doing that as much as he can, like literally every day. I mean, he's just trying to put out tons and tons and tons of content. But that's what a lot of people do, whether it's on, Twitter or Facebook or whatever it is. You just got to
content war, really, isn't it?
It's I think to some degree, it's kind of a fight for mind share. It's really just being, present, omnipresent, as Grant would call it. Be omnipresent, be everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
And the thing is you tomorrow, and then you get to the point where someday you say, "Hey, I think I know who that person is," even though you've never done business with him or you never met that person. It's like, yeah, the guy seems to be everywhere. And and that's how you build your brand, and you just stay ahead of the game, ahead of your competition. So you need to just be out there. And if you're not the face of the company, like if you're a founder or an entrepreneur and you're really the guy behind the curtain making the thing work, then you need to figure out, well, how can I keep the business in front of people? Or how can we stay in front of people? It doesn't have to be you, but you need to, you could be the best kept secret, and that's not going to make you money, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of best kept secrets that are not out there. And it is so nice. You must have come across this in, the hundreds of thousands of people that you've helped, when you see those gem of people that have so much potential, and then you can see it before them, and then they can start to realize it. And you're just watching that journey. I think as, coaches, mentors, whatever we want to call ourselves today, that's one of the most precious moments I always say when I work with clients, is watching someone's potential become a reality for themselves, which I guess is exactly why you do what you do.
Yeah, that's a good feeling when you see the light bulb go on in someone else's eyes, right? Like, it's like, holy shit, I see the light, right? And now I get it. It's okay. Now you've helped that person. I mean, now that one moment, whatever you did or whatever you said, could have completely changed the trajectory of
Yeah.
that person's life. You
Oh,
could have
completely.
just
So,
spun them on another tangent that will change not just their life, but all the people that they come in contact with as well. It's
it's
I don't know if that's what they refer to as the butterfly effect, but it's something like that.
yeah, and it's uncontrollable as well. You know, even if you don't think that moment has been of effect in that moment, you know for sure it has. You know, when they get home, or a month or 2 months, 6 months later, whatever that time frame is for that person, there's always going to be a knock-on effect of change. It can't be helped. It has to happen. Marco, listen, one of my final questions to you is, moving forward, where do you see the opportunities in real estate? And let's just say there's an investor out there that perhaps hasn't fully got their foot in the real estate market, but really wants to, because they can see, you know, they're a founder, they're an entrepreneur, they see potential, they are ready to invest. How would you go about getting that sort of person, that sort of investor, into the market at this stage of the world that we're currently living in?
Is the context the U.S. market or anywhere?
Let's go with you. Well, it depends how knowledgeable you are on outside the US, but I'm happy to go with the US.
Okay, so I'll give you two comments here,
Cool.
because the principles don't change. Okay, so
Yeah.
you can apply this anywhere in the world. Um, this is a good question. It's a big question, because we can talk about this for an hour plus.
Mm-hmm.
But some rules of thumb, just to give you guys some takeaways. First of all, a lot of people make the mistake of speculating in real estate. They're not investing. They're gamblers. They're speculating because they believe that investing in real estate means to buy at one price and then hope that the price continues to go up over time, and that ultimately at some point when you sell it or refinance it, it's at a higher price. That's all well and fine, but those are capital gains, and that increase is an unrealized gain. So it's really paper wealth. It's not real wealth, but it's there. It's paper wealth. Your focus should be cash flow, because you want an immediate return, regardless of whether you're investing in London, which is very hard to do, by the way, one of the most expensive markets in the world, or a market in the United States or Canada or wherever it may be. You want to focus on cash flow, because I call cash flow glue. It's the glue that holds your real estate deal together month after month, year after year, as you have passive income coming in. That's quantifiable and easily measurable, because you call it a cash on cash return. If I put $20,000 down on a $100,000 property and I'm making $10,000 a year, I can do the math, right? I can calculate my cash on cash return. But over time, year after year, historically speaking, if you're in the right markets and neighborhoods, prices will continue to increase. You're pretty much guaranteed that the price will increase at the rate of inflation, the real rate of inflation, because that's what real estate should do and supposed to do, and that's what it does do, without any other factors or drivers coming in to affect the price up or down. So it's a safe bet that you're going to see the value of that property increase over time, because of inflation. But the reality is that equity will grow, because if you're buying in the right markets and right locations, appreciation kicks in, and it's usually above the rate of inflation. So you have appreciation, plus your tenant's paying off your mortgage, your debt on the property. So you also have equity growth from the amortization of that loan. So now you're getting wealthier month after month, year after year, because equity grows, plus you have the cash flow. That's why real estate's such a beautiful thing. Now the question becomes, well, where I get that and I want that. Now, where do I get it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you look at just the United States alone, the U.S. is made up of over 405 MSAs, or metropolitan statistical areas. These are like metropolitan areas, large and medium sized. There's more than that, but we're not going to talk about the micro markets. So if you have a choice of investing in 405 different places in the U.S., I'm not talking about the UK or anywhere else right now. The question is, where do I invest? Without going into a lot of detail and depth, the secret sauce or the formula is this: you want to pick markets that are experiencing growth in terms of jobs. So you want jobs. Ideally, you want job growth. Ideally, you want population growth, because those are the drivers that keep people in the market and bring people to the market and keep the market, sustained and afloat and often growing. So those are the fundamentals. Now you got to pick the neighborhoods that have a great, what I call desirability. You want a good tenant pool. And I'm oversimplifying a little bit, but basically those are neighborhoods that you can talk to the locals or your agent or us or whoever it is to find out where, people want to live and where there's stability and growth. That's not hard to find, but you got to choose the areas and locations or the neighborhoods that are experiencing stability and growth. I just refer to them as B plus, and A minus locations or areas, because that's the best of both worlds: a strong appreciation potential and cash flow. So you're not in low income areas, you're not in the high end ritzy luxury areas, you're kind of in the middle, the blue collar, middle class, bread and butter neighborhoods. So good market, good neighborhood, cash flow positive. The last tip I'm going to share, because I'm compressing an hour presentation really into a couple of minutes. A quick litmus test to find out if the numbers will pencil out. And this is not the be all end all. And of course, this is not where you base your decision, but it's just a quick litmus test. If you're you look at the monthly rent and you look at the purchase price, and for simple math, I always call it $100,000 home. Because there are areas in the U.S. like Middle America that you could buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house for $120,000. That's not uncommon. But if you look at a $100,000 house, you want it to rent for about 1% per month of that market value or that purchase price. So a $100,000 property should rent for about $1,000 a month. Mm-hmm. That one, we call that an RV ratio, rent to value ratio. If it's about 1%, even if it's 0.9 or 0.8%, that's fine. I don't like to go below 0.8% unless I'm in like a hyper growth market. But if you're around 1% of the purchase price on a monthly rental basis, I can almost guarantee you that 99% of the time, the numbers will pencil out and it'll actually be, financially speaking, a good deal. Of course, don't overlook the quality of the neighborhood and the market fundamentals. Yeah. So it's a top-down approach. It's like a funnel. It's my 6th rule of my 10 rules of successful real estate investing. It's the blog post on our website. It's sticky. It's at the top all the time because it's the first thing I want people to see is those 10 rules of successful real estate investing. So that's rule number 6, take a top-down approach. And the other rule next to it is don't speculate. Don't quote unquote invest based on price appreciation alone. So those are that's a quick answer to your question, but you can apply those principles anywhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing, which I really loved about that answer. It's a lot of people when they come on the show, and even if they're from the States, they're only going to apply workings that work for that area or that niche. But you just basically blew that out of the water, and it applies anywhere. And I would even say it applies, outside of property. If you're following that sort of thought process as well, you're going to always be onto some sort of winner, hopefully, touch wood. Marco, listen, you have dropped so much knowledge on this podcast tonight. And like you've said a couple of times, I feel like we could probably have this as a 3-hour podcast and dive deep into some real property technical detail in terms of how people can do this. But sadly, we can't do for 3 hours. Maybe we can one day. But until that day, how can people get in touch with you or learn more about your thought process in terms of real estate investing and learn some nuggets from you?
Well, thanks, Steven. I appreciate you asking. Really, the 2 websites that we have, you'll be able to find anything and everything you need and be able to contact my team and I if you like. So the 2 websites is noradarealestate.com, Norada, noradarealestate.com. And then the sister website is really, a sister property, and it's the home of the podcast, and it's called passiverealestateinvesting.com. Same name as the show. So just passiverealestateinvesting.com.
Love it. Marco, again, thank you so much for coming on Founders 365. You've dropped a ton of knowledge, and I think you've even given me something to come away with, and we'll probably be chatting in the future for sure.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate everything, Steven. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thanks everyone for listening and watching. This has been Founders 365.